The next set of functions we'll talk about are functions that help you count entries. Now, counting itself may not seem like such a big deal, but in an Excel spreadsheet where you have lots of data, tens of thousands of rows of data, and you need to do some analysis on how many records you have for certain things, oftentimes these count functions can help you quickly get your answer without a lot of manual manipulation. So I'll just go through a couple of examples of the different count functions that you can use. The first one is just count, the count function. And the count function gives you a basic count of all the numeric entries in a list. So in this example, I have a count function in cell D17 and it's counting all of the numeric entries in cells D13 through D16. And as you can see, the count function requires only one argument, the range of cells that you want to count. Now, unlike the count function, the count A function allows you to count both numbers and text. So for example, I've got 4 entries filled in, 2 of them are numbers and 2 of them are text. The count A function counts all of them. This here is 4. Over here, I've got 3 numbers, it's 3. I've got 2 text strings, and the count A function counted 2. As the name would indicate, the count blank function allows you to count the number of blanks. So here, we're basically asking, out of all of the surveys that are supposed to be filled out, how many departments have no surveys? I can quickly get an answer with the count blank function. There's 16 departments that still haven't filled out their surveys. And in this example, we ask, how many departments in Factory 4 didn't fill out a survey? And I see 1 here. We've got 1 blank. The COUNTIF function allows you to get a little bit fancy with your analysis. It counts a number of items which match a certain criteria that you have. The arguments for a COUNTIF function are the range of the things that need to be counted, so basically your range, and then the criteria to be matched. Now, if your criteria is a number, all you have to do is put the number down. So, for example, A1 through A5, comma, which basically says you're starting the criteria, 100. If your criteria is a text, you would wrap that text in quotes. For example, A1 through A5, hello. And if your criteria has some sort of comparison operator against it, for example, greater than 100, A1 through A5, greater than 100 in quotes. So I've got a couple of examples here. What I would do to get the number of entries for Monday, COUNTIF, the range of the data, which is C17 through C36, and then Monday in quotes, or MON, based on the way we have the data here. Entries not equal to Monday, C17 through C36, and then I'm going to put the comparison operator to Monday, but I'm going to put those in quotes. The number of entries for Mr. Black, all I need to do is find every instance of BLACK. Less than 200. This next example is a little bit tricky. In this one, we're saying count those records in D17 through D36 where it's greater than the average of D13 through D30. And so what we're doing here is we're saying greater than the comparison operator in quotes, and we're joining that comparison operator to an average function using an ampersand as the concatenation operator. And finally, we're going to count the number that equals 255, and because our criteria is a number, all we'll have to do is put in the number, and those records are 2. The COUNTIF function is new to Excel 2007, and it's exactly like the COUNTIF function, except it allows you to pass multiple criteria. A couple of examples. How many departments in Factory 6 said yes? Here we have one criterion. COUNTIFs equals Y. Yes. So there are 3 departments in Factory 6 that say yes. The point of this example is to show you that you don't necessarily have to pass multiple criteria to the COUNTIFs function to make it work. But the next cell shows the benefit of it. If you go up to the formula bar here, you'll see COUNTIFs, which is the function name. We're checking 2 ranges, C17 to F17 for Y, and we're also checking C19 to F19 for Y. So we're evaluating 2 ranges at the same time with the same function. And finally, we're evaluating 3 ranges here to determine how many people said no in Factory 6, 8, and 10. And apparently the answer is 0.